Let's go to the next question. The title of this is the 3 quotes to buy expensive stuff. Is there a process in your church when purchasing expensive items? For example, buying a TV above $5,000, which is the most expensive
That's
TV.
the most that better be like an LED wall if you're paying $5,000.
Tim's got like 5 of those in his church. What do you mean?
He just bought a new one too. Yeah.
It's like $1,500. Yeah.
A church deacon mentioned that the church should operate like a company, requiring 3 quotes before making such purchases. Does your church have a similar process? Also, wouldn't it be quite a hassle to obtain 3 quotes for everything? Jeff or Delmar, what do you guys got?
If we have to buy something expensive, I generally just shoot it on up the chain, say, hey, I feel like we need to get this. And they're like, okay, shop it out and do it. So there's the size of the church sometimes really impacts this process. We're kind of medium church right now. And right now our process is still in the sense of if you need it, go get it as long as it fits in the budget. If it is a big ticket item, then what I do is I really have to crunch the budget. I get quotes. That's my personality. I'm not the kind of guy who's not going to get some quotes. It's not that hard. There's websites who'll do it for you. Now, if you need something built in your church and you have to get people to come out and give you quotes in that way, that can be a little bit more of a hassle. Generally, if it's at that level, I have an elder working with me. One of the things I was very intentional about on my leadership teams and students, and now I'm working with kids as well. I want to have an elder serving on one of those teams. So I don't have to go to my elder board and set up a meeting and say, hey, we need to get these quotes. I got an elder serving with me and students. If he's signing off on stuff, we're good to go. I'm also an elder, but it's good to have an external elder. So that's what we do. We don't really have a process. I was in a church where it was a bigger church, and if we had to get something that costs a lot, I had to go to the executive pastor and just be like, hey, can you sign off on this thing saying I can buy it? If we did that, then not. Sometimes I understand the frustration because you are in your ministry and you know what you need, but now you have to convince this executive pastor who doesn't know what you need that you need to spend money on this thing you need. That is a real struggle, and I get that. So, but I'll let that up to you guys because I know Frank's probably had to deal with that as well.
Yeah, for us right now, there isn't like a set policy. Actually, reading this question made me think, well, we should probably have a actual policy. There's kind of a understood spoken policy that if it's over a couple $100, for in a small church, I just directly talk to the treasurer. But there have been times when I've had to go around that. There was a piece of audio equipment that broke recently, and I found one on Facebook Marketplace for like less than half of the price because another church had bought it and didn't need it anymore. And I just pulled the trigger and did it, and then had a conversation with my treasurer after. And he wasn't mad, but he was like, if you can let me know beforehand, that'd be great. Because for us, $900 is a good chunk of change. But like I said, I bought basically like a $2,000 piece of equipment for a little less than half. So, and we had to have it, or service wasn't going to happen the next week. So, but I would just say for a small church, having a good relationship with the treasurer and being as absolutely transparent and open as you can be about money is your best policy. Just like, don't make it weird. Don't make it like taboo. Just make it as open as you can. And so fairly consistently, I'm filling out like a spreadsheet of what things are and why they got purchased. And almost it's like a repeating pattern of the same stuff over and over. But like today, I'm having a conversation with some of our nursery workers about like, hey, we need we have more babies now, so we're using the infant nursery. We'd love to get a speaker in there. And I'm like, a speaker? I mean, TVs are so cheap now. Why don't we just throw a couple TVs in there, for like a 32-inch or 44-inch TV? It's like not even $200 to get a couple of them. So let's just do that. So that's the kind of thing where I would just like text my treasurer and just say, hey, this is a need that's come up because we're growing a little bit. Is this something I can just go ahead and take care of?
So we do have an official policy at Lakeview. It has been policy since before I got to Lakeview, and we've talked about tweaking it and changing it, but it's actually been really healthy. It's been good for us as a staff to hold us accountable, as well as for our treasurer to know how the money's being spent. So anything over $500 requires elder approval at Lakeview. So that's just blanket across the board. Whether you're a staff, you're a ministry leader, there's a great need for something, it has to get elder approval. So if it's over $500, so a couple weeks ago I needed a new laptop for a staff member. It was like $800-900. send it to the elders. It's usually within a day I'll hear back whether it's a go. And then for best practices, yeah, I do 3 quotes. That no one requires me to submit those quotes. But for example, when we were getting our parking lot redone, we had a quote come in and we were moving forward with it. And we had 2 staff members push back and say, "Hey, can we please get a few more quotes? This is a lot of money." So then we got 2 more quotes and we ended up saving $18,000. So sure, it could be a hassle to obtain 3 quotes, but if we're talking about being good stewards of the resources that God has given us, yeah, I think you should probably get a couple quotes to make sure it's the best bang for your buck. I mean, Jeff said he found a great deal. Had he not done some research, he would have just went out and bought the thing brand new. But because he looked around and got an even better one, that's saving money. So I'm all for multiple quotes. I would say get a policy in place. That way it's not wishy-washy. So we as a staff, everybody knows, hey, anything over 500, whatever that's for, we have to get elder approval for that. And that's been really helpful for us, and it's held us accountable.
I think the 3 bids make sense if you're getting a concrete, or if you're getting asphalt, if you're getting a new roof or whatever. If you're getting, a new TV to hang in the nursery, a 32-inch TV is going to be under 2. I mean, again, that's
but you're going to do a Google search
under
Yeah,
100, dude.
Yeah,
But yeah,
You're gonna
that's
do
the
a
thing.
best
We don't
price,
live
right?
We don't live in an era where we need to get quotes for everything. We can
Yeah.
Google stuff.
it's like the TV that the 3 of us are looking at right now. It was hey, I can have this put in the back of the car at Best Buy and have it here today, or I can order one for $40 cheaper on Amazon. We got to deal with shipping. Someone has to be here to sign for it because it's a big package. Sometimes your time is worth more than the $40 or $50 that you're going to save, and part of that stewardship is stewarding your time well too.
But the
And
point
so
is
again,
you're still putting in the work to
yes,
find the
but
best
again, it's
deal.
have a policy and stick to that policy.
Yeah, I don't think when I hear this question, I almost think if you have an item that's $5,000 and is your church
$5,000 is a big expenditure for
I don't care
most
what size
churches.
church you are.
Why-
That's a lot of money.
why wouldn't you want to get, like, I remember when I was doing summer camps or missions trips and I was ordering shirts, and like I would love to be loyal to a singular t-shirt company. This is previous to us learning about church merch
For your church?
and any other organization. I would be like, hey, I want to order this many shirts from this many, this design. Who give me the best deal? And I would get 3 or 4 quotes. Then I would consider like quality and stuff like that. But like I would get quotes for like a couple $100, just because, kind of like Jeff said though, like we could just Google that and like we can kind of figure it out pretty quickly. So I would say like, yeah, it might be a little bit of a hassle, but like this is a part of being good stewards, and this will all be worth it at the end. So, hey,
Delmar's got something.
Delmar,
Yeah,
talk
I
to
just want
us.
Yeah,
Tell
I
us
just
what
want
you
to
do.
add that one thing. Loyalty is not always your friend when it comes to purchasing things. Sometimes you can say, I'm going to be with this group, and then over the years, they're gradually increasing the price, and you don't realize it. I learned that. Some of you are going to say, you idiot, which is fine. But I've been with the same insurance company since when I got my permit, just because I was just there and I stayed.
You
Yeah,
idiot.
I know. And then I got my homeowner's insurance in, and they jacked it up $1,000 this year. So a friend of mine had left that insurance company, and I went and talked to him last week. And just in my own life, I saved $1,000 and got a $200,000 greater policy on my house, just because I shopped around. And I think I just would encourage you. One of the reasons some people don't like shopping around and getting other quotes is because they're already loyal to something else. Yeah, it's a very big, dangerous thing because companies, they're in it to make money. So I would just encourage you, if you don't want to get quotes, I think one of y'all said why, and there may be an ulterior motive behind it. So, or
And most of those companies don't
yeah.
really care about your loyalty.
honestly,
No.
they don't. Insurance people don't care at all.
They don't.
Yeah.
We had the church I was at previously, someone had donated a house right across the street to the church, and the church was selling it, and there was these, and we got multiple bids from different realtors, and the middle of the 3 commission bids was from someone who had been a longtime member of the church, and it was the better realtor with the more active listings, and the more high volume realtor, and it was, do you know what? Do we go with the person that's more likely to sell the house faster, but will expect a little bit higher commission? This is before the recent realtor shakeup that's happened. And so, or do we go with the person that we're going to be client number one, but they also haven't sold a house in the past 3 months? And so we went with the commission that was going to be a little bit higher commission in hopes that the money would come in sooner. And she ended up writing off the entire commission. So she got the commission because then for her tithe and her tax records, she could do it that way. So sometimes it helps when you know a person as well. But it was a thing where she didn't tell us that was going to happen. It was this is a trustworthy person, and it might be worth spending an extra 0.5% to get the better person. So there's things that you consider as well. I know that's selling something, not buying something, but sometimes brand loyalty is worth it if it's the person that you can trust. If it's an insurance company, just run.